Jay Good with Sports here. February is one of my favorite months of the year because there's a lot of sport activity going on. Got the NBA All-Star Weekend in 2 weekends from now. Got the Super Bowl next weekend. This year we just happen to be blessed with the Winter Olympics. Yeah, the Winter Olympics. Watched the classic Cool Running when I was growing up about the Jamaican team having a bobsled team in the Olympics. That was mind blowing to me. And they actually qualified, I believe, for 3 bobsledding events this year. I'm into the whole curling thing. Like, I find that fascinating. Speed, ice skating. That's interesting to me. Shout out to Shaun White. This is his last go around, snowboarding legend there. Yeah, I'm into it. I mean, it's not the Summer Olympics, but it's a good consolation prize for myself. But anyway, we're gonna focus more so on the NBA this time around. So, the All-Stars. A couple weeks ago, we got the All-Star starters. This past Thursday, the reserves was announced as well. So, for the East, for the starters, we got Kevin Durant. He's the captain. He got the most votes in the Eastern Conference. However, he's not going to play because he's injured right now, so there's going to be a replacement to be announced here in the near future. We got Giannis, we got Joel Embiid, we got Trae Young, DeMar DeRozan. For the reserves, we got Jimmy Butler, Darius Garland, James Harden, Zach LaVine, Chris Middleton, Jason Tatum, and Fred VanVleet. For the West, we got LeBron James. He's the captain, leading vote getter for the Western Conference, followed by Nikola Jokic, Andrew Wiggins, Stephen Curry, Ja Morant. For the reserves, we got Devin Booker, Luka Doncic, Rudy Gobert, Draymond Green, Donovan Mitchell, Chris Paul, and Karl Anthony Towns. Now, I do have a problem with some of these guys. So, for instance, I'm going to just go to the East. I'm going to start with the East first, and then definitely got a bone to pick with the West there. But, all right, Trae Young. I understand Trae Young is an exciting young player. Trae Young is an exceptional player. Trae Young got the Atlanta Hawks to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. I get all that. But this season, I strongly feel like Trae Young should not be starting. It's either one or two players for me. My first selection would be Darius Garland. Now, shout out to Darius Garland. He's a first-time All-Star. The All-Star game is in Cleveland. He plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Even a bigger shout-out to him being from Gary, Indiana, 219 over here in this region. I remember when he was the ball boy for my high school's basketball team. Remember him as a little kid, and he turned out to be this superstar protege right now, and that's an awesome feeling. Everybody from the city over here is definitely, digging it and supporting Darius Garland 100%. Trust me on that one. But yeah, I feel like he's had a more incredible season. So when Colin Sexton and Ricky Rubio, were lost for the season, Darius stepped up. He stepped up his game. He's the reason why the Cleveland Cavaliers are relevant right now. Before the season started, Cleveland, we kind of thought like maybe they can, fight their way in for the play-in tournament at the end of the year. No, they have exceeded expectations. With the whole cast, it's been an incredible story for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he is the front runner on that team for them to even be in this position right now. So I feel like he should be starting instead of Trae Young. I am glad that they gave Debo, as in DeMar DeRozan, some love there. I strongly feel like that if Darius Garland couldn't start, it should have been Zach LaVine as my second pick to start outside of Darius Garland. Darius Garland should be starting instead of Trae Young. If not Darius Garland, it should be Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine has been balling out along with DeMar DeRozan. DeRozan had put the league back on notice this year, letting them know like, hey, I can still play at a very high level. DeMar DeRozan is arguably having the best season of his career all the way around. He's just an all-around ball player at this point. He's seasoned. He's seen a lot. He's been in winning environments. He's been coached by some of the best coaches of all time. And he basically took everything that he's learned and gave it a blueprint to my Chicago Bulls here. And they are first in the East. And if they win today, Billy Donovan and the coaching staff would be coaching the Eastern All-Stars. That's how good the Bulls have been this year. they are in position to where Billy Donovan and the staff will be coaching the All-Star team. All right, and so Darius Garland, first-time All-Star, shout out to him. Shout out to Fred VanVleet from the Rockford, Illinois area, first-time All-Star as well. And so I mentioned earlier that Kevin Durant is not playing because he's injured. So there's going to be somebody to replace him. And I'm going to throw out a couple of names who I feel like should be strongly considered. One is Darius Garland's teammate, Jared Allen, who's had a phenomenal season. If I'm not mistaken, the other night he had 29 points and 22 rebounds. The night that he found out that he did not make the team. So it's just like a perfect response to him feeling like he's being snubbed. And I hope he has the opportunity to actually be part of the team when the game is in Cleveland on February 20th. Like, for them to have two All-Stars, I feel like it's well-deserving. If not Jared Allen, my personal preference would be LaMelo Ball. Now, I'm a fan of the Balls, Lonzo and LaMelo. Now, Gio, that's a whole nother story. I'm just glad he's somewhat in the league, trying to find his way to a consistent role here. But LaMelo, he's been the protege. I mean, we all knew about the Ball family with LeVar being a quote unquote big mouth, but honestly, he just was a great father and got them in this position. You haven't heard from LeVar Ball in I don't know how long, and there's a reason why. Because he did his part. So now he's letting his sons, blossom and grow and live their own life. And LaMelo Ball is the reason why the Charlotte Hornets are even, competitive. Him and Miles Bridges, who's another person you can probably fill in the spot who's having a career year this year. LaMelo Ball, when he got to the roster, he is bringing out the best in his teammates. They are playing at an exceptional level. Before this, Charlotte was just basically a depleted organization. They had Kemba Walker for years, didn't really do too much. It seemed like, Michael Jordan can only just, play the game, can't evaluate talent or make executive decisions or make roster moves and things of that nature. But with LaMelo Ball here, it seemed like the whole narrative is starting to change. There seemed like hope, and he's box office. LaMelo Ball is box office. I'm upset that I didn't get a chance to go to the Bulls game when the Hornets came to town because I would love to see Lonzo against LaMelo. That is, if you appreciate the game of basketball, those two players you will, absolutely love, and I love their game. I love their IQ. I love their command of the offense. I love their court vision. I love their passing ability. I love the fact that they make their teammates better. And so LaMelo's having an exceptional year, and if it's not Jared Allen, really hope it's LaMelo Ball there. I mean, other than that, everybody's pretty much deserving of an All-Star spot in the East. All right, so let me go to the West because I definitely have a bone to pick. So I get LeBron James starter, fine. That's no brainer. Steph Curry starter, fine. Ja Morant, shout out to Ja Morant. Ja Morant, is probably making the New Orleans Pelicans think twice about them drafting Zion. Now, I only say that because of his availability. When Zion's on the court, he is putting up historic numbers when he's out there. But that's the thing. It seemed like with number one overall picks that cannot stay healthy, it's not a good feeling. Because you have the talent. When you see them for that small sample size of what they can do on the court, and you seem like you're being robbed because it's not fair, because they can't stay on the court, it's like, you being teased. There's nothing you can do about it. And so, anyway, back to Ja Morant. He has the Memphis Grizzlies right now, third place in the Western Conference. I kid you not. I know for sure. I didn't see this coming. I don't think a lot of people seen this coming. We knew that this team was up and up, but I didn't think they was going to make this type of leap this year. Maybe after this year, maybe, next season. But right now, I mean, you have to pay attention to them. You cannot, overlook them. When it's time for the playoffs and they play whomever, that team that's going against them cannot take them lightly. This team is young. This team is feisty. This team reminds me a lot of the Cincinnati Bengals. Young team, young nucleus, playing with house money, have nothing to lose. They're dogs. You cannot take them lightly whatsoever. And it's all because of John Morant leading the way. And there was a point in time when Ja was out for, a few weeks. And they, at one point, they won 10 out their first 11 games without Ja Morant. Like, that's insane. So that whole coaching staff, everybody involved with the roster construction, they get major props here. So they're hungry. Jokic, he deserves, starter spot. Now, Andrew Wiggins. Now, where do I begin? So Andrew Wiggins, I feel like he's had a long journey to get to this point. Came out number 1 overall pick the same year that LeBron decided to take his talents back to Cleveland after leaving Miami. Ended up trading that pick to turn into Kevin Love, Andrew Wiggins in Minnesota. Just flashes of small flashes of greatness. Never had the will to drive to become, better than what he was. Ask Jimmy Butler in that one season when he was there, when he had that infamous practice with the third stringers on his team, beating out the starters, basically calling everybody there soft, basically saying that Andrew Wiggins has probably the most talented player he's ever played with, but does not have a motor, does not have the drive to be great. And for Andrew Wiggins to leave that toxic situation in Minnesota, to get traded to the Golden State Warriors, and for him to, find his role, find, what works for him, find a system that can put him in the best position possible to, become who he is this year. Like, the Warriors' defense is amazing. Their perimeter defense is outstanding. And a lot of it has to do with Andrew Wiggins. But also the fact that he has Steph Curry on his team and Klay's now coming back. But having Steph Curry on his team is giving him a lot easier shots on offense. And he's capitalizing on them. So, with all that being said, Andrew Wiggins, does he deserve to be an all-star? Probably. For him to be an all-star starter? No. I'm sorry. Can't even do it. Not going to be able to do it. Nope. So I would rather see Devin Booker be a starter. I mean, they got the number 1 record in the Western Conference and in the NBA in general, the Phoenix Suns. I mean, Donovan Mitchell. I'd rather see him being a starter than Andrew Wiggins. Chris Paul. But I get it. Andrew Wiggins listed at 4. He can't have, 3 guards starting. Fine. Rudy Gobert. I'm just saying. Wiggins starter, I don't get it. I guess that's the Bay Area fan base, doing their thing, doing their part for Andrew Wiggins to be in that position. But either way, I truly am happy for Wiggins to turn around his career. I did have high hopes for him when he came out. It just, took a different path to get to where he is today. But either way, congrats to Wiggins. All right. As far as the reserves, Draymond Green, like Kevin Durant, he already said that he's not going to be able to play because he's still recovering from an injury. So therefore, there's going to be another spot available for somebody else to replace him. And so, I would love to see Anthony Edwards. Now, I know he probably won't get the nod this year, but whenever Anthony Edwards get a chance to be in this game, we're going to see something special. Anthony Edwards is a special player. Personally, I would love to see him this year. They probably won't give him a nod. DeJounte Murray, he's been balling out. Now, I get it. The San Antonio Spurs are, towards the bottom of the Western Conference, and normally they award guys who have, winning records and stuff, but you just can't ignore what he's doing each and every night. And I would say maybe Brandon Ingram. Maybe. I know he's been playing well, but once again, he's on the Pelicans, which, not winning right now. But either way, I feel like the two spots that's going to be available for replacement, they're going to be guys deserving of the award uh, to be part of the All-Star game. So I think we're in good hands there. But all in all, yeah. Karl Anthony Towns deserve to be there. Chris Paul, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, Luka Doncic. Like, they're all deserving. I think we might actually have a pretty solid game. I know in years past, the game hasn't been the most exciting thing. Last year, I think it was more so towards a blowout. Now, the year before, with the new format, I guess, playing it quarter by quarter type thing, and then like having a actual point total to go towards in the fourth quarter there. I mean, it's different. I do like the innovation of the rules to try to bring in more excitement. People actually play defense now a little bit more in the All-Star game. I remember growing up in the 90s and guys, I don't know, they were just built different, wired different in that way. They competed the whole 48 minutes on the court on both ends. Like, yeah, you get your highlight plays and you get the guys playing, doing spectacular things, but at the same time, like, guys like play with pride. They didn't care if it was All-Star game or Game 7 of the NBA Finals. They came out there to play. And so, now with the new format, it gives it, more appeal to do so. And I mean, I'm happier with what I've seen in the last 3 years, in the totality of the last 20 years. So I'll take these last three. So, all right. So yeah, once again, the game is set for February 20th, All-Star Weekend. I believe starts Friday, February 18th. So definitely, plan accordingly for that. And the NBA trade deadline, that is coming up this Thursday, February 10th. We already seen one deal take place. So the Clippers acquired Portland Trailblazers veterans Norman Powell and Robert Covington the other day, and they sent out Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, Keon Johnson, and a 2025 second-round pick. So that basically indicates that Portland is officially starting to rebuild. I know Damian Lillard pretty much, shut it down right now this year with an abdominal injury. And now it's like the clock is ticking. When I guess Damian Lillard is going to get traded. That's what it feels like. Damian Lillard, is on record as saying he doesn't want to get traded. He wants to win. He wants to bring players in to win in Portland. He feels like he's not like a lot of these new cats that, house around team to team ring chasing. He wants to win. He wants to be loyal to Portland. But the direction that the Trailblazers have been going in the last 3 years or so, and with this trade here, basically trading off, valuable pieces for your team for, clearing cap space and getting rebuilding assets here. It feels like the writing is on the wall. What I'm hearing, CJ McCollum, his running mate, I heard that the Dallas Mavericks are interested in trading for him. And I wouldn't be surprised if they actually pull the trigger. I know for years they've been talking about like this backcourt of McCollum and Lillard can't win together. I mean, their peak has been a Western Conference Finals, but they not good enough to get over the hump. In order for Damian Lillard to do X, Y, and Z, McCollum must get traded for that player to get him to a higher ceiling than what he's had been. And so I would not be surprised if Portland was willing to move Powell and Covington, who has been like glue pieces to that core there for them to stay competitive, and they're gone, they're shipped out, then I feel like it's going to be a fire sale. And it's been a long time coming. Portland needs to do something. Now, what happens between now and the summertime is yet to be determined, but I guarantee you Damian Lillard is, antennas are up, all the way up. And he will be paying close attention between now and Thursday trade deadline here for the Portland Trailblazers. So we're probably going to see some other moves here. Lakers fans, not sure what your team is going to do. Currently 9th in the West, 26-28 on the year. I mean, at this point, you are who you are. I'm not sure there's any move at the deadline that the Lakers can make to make them relevant. Because the problem is, there's actually a few problems here. One, like you got rid of your defensive identity this past offseason. Caldwell Pope, he's gone to Washington. You let Alex Caruso walk to my Bulls, and I am greatly appreciative of that. We love Alex Caruso over here in the Windy City. We love him. Those two right there, gave you all a defensive edge to allow AD and LeBron to do what they do. It allows them to play freely. It takes pressure off of the team in general with those two players. And now that they're gone, I mean, you bring in Trevor Ariza. I mean, if this was, 2009, fine, but the year is 2022. He's not the same. You bring in Carmelo Anthony, it definitely wasn't for defense, just extra scoring off the bench. I guess Kent Bazemore, he hasn't panned out. I mean, the best player that the Lakers have had in probably, the last, 6 weeks or so is Stanley Johnson, a former first-round pick who, got kicked out the league because nobody wanted him on his team, and he found his way back in the league. And he's playing, like his career depends on it, because it does. So he's giving you 150% effort out there. I mean, Malik Monk at times has been splendid, and at times he hasn't showed up. And then Russell Westbrook. Brody. Bro, what are you doing? So, I mean, there's a lot of blame to go around for this team to be 2 games under 500 this far into the season. You can definitely blame Westbrook. You can definitely, shoot some blame to Frank Vogel, the coach, for not putting his players in the right positions to win ball games. You can definitely blame GM Rob Pelinka and to a certain degree LeBron James for putting this roster together. To my understanding, they had a trade on the table to get Buddy Hield. Instead, we're going to get the big name Russell Westbrook. We're going to form a big three. He's going to be our key to getting back to the finals and winning another one. Buddy Hield would have been a lot more complimentary piece. Now, I get it, Buddy Hield's not having the greatest season of his career by any means, but he fits a lot better in what the Lakers are trying to do on offense than what we've seen from Russell Westbrook so far. So, ninth in the West, you got teams like the Clippers, who does not have Kawhi Leonard all year, and Paul George. I don't even remember the last time he was stepped on the court, but it was closer to the beginning of the season than now. Clippers have a better record. Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves, the team that only been to the playoffs one time since the Kevin Garnett era, one time, have a better record than the Los Angeles Lakers. The Denver Nuggets, who hasn't had Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. in I don't know how long, they have a better record than the Lakers. So something has to give, but I don't know they have enough time to make it work. The only way that the Lakers can probably stay relevant or somewhat halfway decent competitive is a healthy Anthony Davis. A healthy Anthony Davis. I have deemed Anthony Davis the president of the glass fraternity. That's what he is. Fragile. I mean, Anthony Davis can be great, but then it's like more so like, okay, he can be great, but I give him, another 5 games, and then he's on the shelf for another 4 to 5 weeks. I don't know why people are surprised. Anthony Davis has been like this his whole career. I guess just because he's, in Los Angeles, I guess the spotlight is a lot bigger, right? So I guess, everybody knows it now. When he was in New Orleans, I mean, it was the same thing, but, they wouldn't win in. They went in the spotlight. He was just a star on a small market team. You get to you become a big fish in a big pond in the ocean. Everybody knows it. So, I mean, but that's the key right there for the Lakers. LeBron can only do so much at this point. But this is why they traded for Anthony Davis. But if he can't stay on the court, then you don't have a shot. What they say, your best ability is availability. So the other potential, names floating out there right now as far as the trade deadline, James Harden, Ben Simmons. So, Ben Simmons hasn't played since last year's playoffs, where basically, Doc Rivers and the team threw Ben Simmons under the bus after his very, very poor performance in the playoffs. It was to the point where this man had wide open dunks and he's passing it to somebody else. He lost confidence out there in that series against the Atlanta Hawks. Everybody saw it. But I guess Ben Simmons is pretty much sensitive to the point where he doesn't want to play for him. He doesn't want to have anything to do with that organization, and trying to force his way out. Right now, it's kind of backfiring. This man, from what I've read, has already, lost $19 million in fines already. And so the only potential deal out there right now that Daryl Morey, the GM of the Sixers, want is James Harden, who he had in Houston for all those years, who put James Harden in a position to be, the league MVP and the unstoppable offensive threat that we've seen for years. Now, James Harden, between the rule changes and I guess his own attitude or whatnot, hasn't been the same James Harden that we've known and seen. Quote unquote, he's unhappy in Brooklyn. He's unhappy at the fact that Kyrie Irving is a part-time player. He's unhappy at the fact that I guess he actually, has to, play harder and actually, I guess to my understanding, he thought the ring would be easy. And with everything that's going on, it's definitely not what he signed up for, I guess, in his head. So now he's disgruntled. Now he wants out. So I guess it would make sense if, for those two to be traded for each other at this point. But will Brooklyn do that? I don't see an incentive for Brooklyn to do it right now, maybe in the offseason. But with Kevin Durant hurt and Kyrie Irving being a part-time player, and you trade for a guy who, virtually can't shoot the ball, and I don't know if he still have confident issues of, trying to attack the basket and shooting free throws and stuff, for a team that right now James Harden is the offense full-time with a part-time Kyrie. I don't know. But Brooklyn hasn't, been the greatest in the last 10 games here at all. They're 29-23 on the season, 7-game losing streak. That's something, this whole James Harden, Ben Simmons, trade scenario, something to keep an eye on between now and the deadline. I know the Indiana Pacers, who are pretty much, trying to get the number 1 pick here, or definitely a top 5 pick, they have a lot of talented pieces that can be moved, that can make contending teams a lot better, that can probably put contending teams over the hump. So be on the lookout for the Pacers with their moves between Caris LeVert, Miles Turner, Sabonis. LeVert's a 20 point per game scorer. Miles Turner, former All-Star. Sabonis, former All-Star. So, be on the lookout for that. As far as my Bulls, there are rumors of, possibly trading for Jeremy Grant, but honestly, if I'm, AK, our GM, and Billy Donovan, I would stand pat at the deadline. Like, the best thing they can do is, wait for the buyout market. That's probably where they're going to get the biggest bang for their buck. For my Bulls, we need size. We need size. We need height. We need some more interior defense. Tony Bradley, I appreciate your services, but you got to go. You are a stiff man walking. It's like watching the gingerbread man from Shrek 2 play defense in a fast league. It's not happening. Not going to be able to do it. And so, yeah, we need size. So hopefully we can get some size in the buyout market. And we just need health. Waiting for Patrick Williams to come back. They're starting the reports saying that he'll probably be back before the end of the regular season. That would be excellent. Waiting for Lonzo Ball to get back. Waiting for Alex Caruso to get back. Once we get all our guys back, look out. Because at this point, we going to give teams problems. We going to give the Milwaukee Bucks problems. We may lose to them, but we going to give them problems. Same with the Brooklyn Nets and their situation if they turn it around. Miami Heat, that might be the one team that really has our number. But we'll see how that goes. They're virtually tied with us at the top. We have a slightly better winning percentage, so that's why the Bulls are the number one seed right now in the East. But nevertheless, we are in store for some good basketball here. Right after the All-Star break, between that and then the regular season, we head into the playoffs, we are in store for some good basketball. So definitely stay tuned for all of that. All right, so this is my time for today. Check me out. Please, follow me on social media at JGoodWithSports. Also, check out the podcast that I do every Saturday morning, 7 o'clock Central Time, called the Early Morning Sports Talk Podcast, found on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast from. Until next time, people, deuces.